Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Q&A Tuesday. We'll let some more people join in, and then we'll go over everything. But today is going to be over routes, or if you have any other issues that you've been seeing or dealing with, definitely bring those to our attention too today. But we'll wait a couple more minutes before we start taking questions. All right. So welcome everybody again. If you didn't hear the first part, welcome to Q&A. Today we're going to go over routes or any issues that you have been seeing over the past couple weeks and that you want to bring to our attention. And if this is your first time attending, we'll just go over how to ask your question. Go ahead and hit that react or reacts button down at the bottom, and then you'll see the little raise hand. Click that, and then we will take the questions in the order that they come in. All right, here we go. First one is Mark.
Howdy.
Hey.
Hello. And I forgot who it was that requested. I'm Mark from San Francisco. So the regarding routes, for the new app, I'm still getting a lot of crashing. So between stops, it'll go to basically a blank white page. I have to close the app entirely and re-log in for it to populate. It will happen at any given stop, like just if I want to press the pickup button, it won't even go to the next page to confirm, is this a cleaning, wash and fold? What is it? That kind of categorization page. So it like completely freezes out. I can't go back. I can't do anything. And then the other one, which is what I said, just a blank white page. But again, I know that's beta, so just letting you know. In terms of the legacy app, one I guess feature request, or if it's something that already exists and maybe I just didn't toggle it on, scanning the bags for pickup is really great. And scanning the bags, I'm sorry, scanning the orders out is really great. But there's like a way that we force our system so that they have to scan when they scan the orders as delivered. But there is no similar mirroring function on the pickup side where they have to scan to pick up. And it would be equally helpful just because unfortunately sometimes a customer bag tag is either maybe faded or is completely wrong and has incorrect information. And having that forced scan really allows us to be alerted when that happens rather than let it slip through the cracks, similar to the delivery side. It prevents incorrect deliveries, that scanning function, rather than marking it by hand. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yep, I'm following everything. Um, that's good. We got that written down. We'll put that in. Two things. I don't remember. I think we talked last week, but did we confirm if you are using a mobile station or a delivery station for the new app?
When you say I didn't know there were differences. I thought it was just the beta app.
Yeah, so you still choose what type of station you're using, whether it's a mobile, which you have. So essentially, what it does is it's supposed to start you open up to a racking module if you're using mobile.
Okay.
And we've noticed that that's caused some crashing, so we're trying to recommend everybody move over to a delivery station. We're not seeing it as often, but if you do see it, note down the time that you had, like that it happened, so that way we can go back and look at the crash report to see what happened.
Okay.
Um, so if you do have some timelines that I can look at, you can email them over to me, and I can go ahead and take a look for those.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, I know that when I open my app, it opens to the manifest, so it doesn't open to racking. So does that mean that I'm on the delivery side?
yeah, it should, yes,
Okay.
but still want to confirm that for sure.
Copy. Thank you.
And I think there was one other thing. I already lost my train of thought. Sorry.
All
If
good.
I if I think of it, I can come back to you.
No worries.
Or if you think of another thing. But all good.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Next, we've got Christy. I think I just clicked the wrong person. There it is.
Hey Tyler, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Hanging in there. So my question is that we noticed on there's 2 days of our 2 days of the week, one route driver who's running two different routes. He runs one in the morning and then runs the one in the afternoon. Then, but what we do is, you want to pull those routes kind of ahead of time, right? So he pulls up on his phone, like early that morning. He's going to pull both routes. I'm going to pull the first route order on my truck, but I'm going to go ahead and pull my second route. So that way, when I finish my first one, I come back and I grab that and go. And that works just fine. But what's happening is he drives back to the plant and then he pulls up the second route in the afternoon, and it's telling him go in a different order than it did earlier. So now it's closing in the same order that it's optimizing them to go, if that makes sense. And I'm not sure why that would be.
Yeah. Okay. So you're saying that by the time that they get to the second route, which is probably in the afternoon, that the route has changed, and so then the driver's having issues because they have already stacked their van or loaded it the way that they saw it the
Well, the
first time.
round, no, well, the route didn't change. It just Smart put it in a different order than it had put it in the morning. Does that
Okay.
make?
So
It was
so
weird.
your so your routes are optimized, right?
Yeah.
So basically your route driver goes out, does one route, everything's fine, he puts his closing order, but when he comes back, now in Smart, the route is different than the order that he put the second route in. Is that right?
Yeah, it's in a different order. And I mean, he's leaving the same place, right?
So I guess two things that we can check. So the first thing is if your route optimizes anytime it gets anything update or any additional orders or any additional like stops, that will cause the route to change. Um, Also, if anyone manually optimizes the route, that will also do the same thing. So there could be some reasons why that is happening that way, but if a will call customer says, "Oh, actually, can you come pick this up?" and someone at the store says, "Oh, add a stop for today because it doesn't go out till later this afternoon," now that route has to re-optimize, right? So that could be happening.
Well, but I know that like last week that there were no changes in the route, and he came in and he was like, "Hey, why does it have me getting from here? Why usually we start to the closest point from the plant, right? And we kind of make a big circle that comes around to the plant, and then and it was very weird. It was like, no, don't do that. Go, the morning it had it the way we normally run it, and then in the afternoon when he was ready to leave, it was like, oh no, go downtown New Orleans, out of the way, do that, and then go a little south, and then come back up to the plant, go here, and then go. It was very strange, and it got
Are
them
the
all
route
disoriented.
So I think we can I mean if it's happening that often, all you have to do is send us a time or a route that it happened to on what day, and we could take a look into if it got re-optimized and why it got re-optimized. And then
Okay,
also, is the route one route with a sub route? Is it a master and sub route kind of situation, or is it actually two different routes?
it's two different routes. Like I have a West Bank route on the other side of the river. I run in the morning,
Hmm.
and then the afternoon it's all the East Bank. So two separate, you know,
Oh,
all different. But I have one guy who runs it on Mondays and Thursdays, because it's enough work for one person to fill up a
got it.
day.
Yeah, I
But
got
they
it.
pull it ahead of time, and you pull in an order that it's going to show up on your phone telling you to go. And then when you go to run it, it's in a different order. You're like, oh no, wait, what?
No, absolutely. So yeah, it looks crazy, and then now you're scrambling to reorder it to make it work again. So no,
Yeah.
if you definitely give us a day that that's happened, we can take a look at the
Okay.
logs to see what caused the optimization to run again.
Okay. I'll do that. I'll check it on Thursday when we run and see what goes and see if it did the same thing.
Perfect. And then
Appreciate it.
just attention me on the ticket,
Okay.
just Chris with no H. Otherwise,
Okay.
it'll end up somewhere else.
All right, Chris. Thanks. We'll do.
No problem.
All right. And now we've got Zach.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Awesome. How are y'all doing today?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. You talked about this earlier. I was just curious, what are the differences between a mobile and a delivery station? I know that you were having like a IT issue, but what was the intentionality behind like the different yeah.
Yeah, so I know that mainly the mobile station is supposed to be used for racking purposes. So you can walk around the store and rack rather than having to, you know, have a scanner or use a wireless scanner, walk back, make sure you scan the correct thing, all that. Everything's just in your hand. That's what its purpose is, but it can essentially do both things. Racking, well, they both can do both. That makes sense. Just one opens up to racking, and then the other one opens up to your to-do list and manifest. Does that make
Okay,
sense?
that makes total sense. Thank you. The other question I had was in regards to will call. Does the system automatically schedule the return trip for a will call customer? Or do we, because I'm pretty sure we are the ones like booking the return journey. Like one of our customers will call, schedule a pickup, and then we go in and we have to schedule the return trip. Are we doing something wrong?
Yeah, Zach. It's so the system should be auto scheduling stop return stop. So if I'm a will call customer, I have orders in the system and those orders have become ready, then it should auto create the stop. What will happen though is if you have a bunch of orders that came in on the same day that share the same due date and only three of them are ready and the other one's not, it will not create a stop until all the orders are ready.
Okay. And then it determines which day it schedules it based off of like, so
Whenever it's ready.
the first
Or
thing that happened is everything has to be ready and then it'll be the next day.
Yep. And so, yeah, so for you, for example, yours is after everything's assembled. So after everything or after the first bag is assembled at your assembly, then it should create a stop for the next available delivery day. So that also includes like if you guys have like grace times and kind of a pickup and if you have limitations, it's gonna push it out. It's just gonna whatever's the next available delivery date is.
You've looked at our settings before. You remember that
Yes.
ours is based off of assembly,
Exactly. Yep.
and you said it was the first bag in
Yep.
assembly.
So as soon as that first bag is assembled, it should create a stop for that customer.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Next we have Brian.
Hey Tyler, I ran into an issue over the weekend, and I did open up a ticket. I just want to make sure I understand it. But our store closed at 4 o'clock on Saturday, and all the tickets say it says the due date or whatever it is Saturday at 4 p.m. So we had some confusion with the customer or I guess on Saturday because he showed up at 4 or after 4 o'clock. So I wanted to change the due time earlier on Saturdays. But am I able to do that based on due date, or is that based on day the order was put in the system, or day, I guess, creation date?
So it would kind of be both, right? So it depends on how your due date rules are set up. Like if you have it day specific, that would come into effect. But if you have it set up for uh, department specific, then it would be different, right? So I guess it would
Got it.
depend on how you currently do it and how you are looking to do it. So if you have something where
Yeah.
it's like everything that comes in on Thursday, I want it to be due Saturday at 12. Doable. It's pretty basic
Yeah.
one. But if you're doing
We
departments,
yeah
yeah.
we have it by departments.
Okay. Yeah, so then
Hey Brian, it's
All right. So
Gina.
hey Gina.
I just pulled up your stuff here. Yeah, I can see it's by department and you do have like your regular default. So if it's not like wedding or leathers or anything like
Yeah.
that, looks like it's just 4 days at 3 p.m.
Yeah. Well, so
So
I when I read how to do it, I was like, oh, this doesn't seem like it's the way it wasn't as straightforward as I wanted to. I figured
It's not.
the easier thing for me to do was just to turn everything an hour earlier.
Mm,
And that way I won't run into the situation I had on Saturday. So
gotcha.
that's what I did. I just want to make sure I understood.
Now, is there a
The question for-
specific day of the week that you're taking for Saturday, like Wednesdays, Thursdays?
Yeah, I mean, it's usually Tuesdays or Wednesdays, but it's not always that way. And
Okay.
it wasn't as straightforward as I think
Okay. Yeah, well, we
I
don't want
wanted.
to
So this is easy.
create, yeah, we don't want to create a rule for an exception too. So if you don't have like a regular kind of Saturday schedule or they're one-offs, I would actually recommend not putting a new rule in here and you just
Yeah.
having to, and when you create the order, you can adjust the time too. So you don't have to change everybody here until 3. Just on those days where you're maybe doing Saturday, they would have to change the time in there. But if it is an exception and it's not like set days, I definitely don't recommend putting something set into the system then.
Yeah, and I think moving it to 3 o'clock for me,
Mhm.
it doesn't impact production from our side,
Okay, good.
and it kind of fixes the customer experience that we had. So
Yeah.
we should be
One
okay.
One tip
Yeah.
I always try to tell people like after moving to Smart is before we've been so hung up on giving people their slip of paper and saying, "Hey, it's going to be ready Wednesday after 4, Thursday after 4." And we get so used to that. With the new system, try to just be a little bit more modern with it too and say, "Hey, we'll shoot you a text as soon as it's ready." Because it
Yeah,
might be at noon instead of 4, you know?
yeah, and to be honest with you, yeah, it just happened. So basically, I mean, long story short, we had on there Saturday at 4. We were done Thursday at noon, and the
Hmm.
guy showed up at 4:05 or something on Saturday, and we were already closed. And he was like, "This
Yeah.
is ridiculous." You know what I mean? Like, you told me
Yeah.
it would be ready by 4 o'clock. You mean so?
So yeah,
It's not
look
a
for your
big deal.
text and then look at my store hours.
Yeah,
How about that? But
and not 99% of every customer would have been okay with that, but
yeah, I
I was just
gotcha.
trying to avoid a bad review
Yeah.
by having this. So, but yeah, I think just
Can't win
changing
them
the due
all.
date first. So I think changing the due date, it doesn't impact us from a production perspective at all,
Good.
and I think it eliminates this. So I went with
Awesome.
that one. Okay, thank you.
Problem solved. You're
Yep.
welcome.
Okay, and just for those who have joined and missed the beginning, if you do have questions, today we're kind of focusing on routes or anything else that you may have run into within the last week or so, and you want to bring to our attention, and just go ahead and hit that react button down below and hit the little raise hand button, and then we'll get to you in the order that they come in. Right now, we don't have any. All right, looks like we got Steve.
Hey guys, we've been experimenting with the new module, the new route module. And we've got a Samsung tablet that we're using and we really like what we saw. However, seems like my delight driver got about halfway through his route, the tablet would freeze up. Is this thing more of a memory hog than the old? Because we went back to the old version. And I didn't know what was causing it to lock up, as he was on his route. So we kind of bailed out of it and went back to the previous generation, but I didn't know if that was one of the bugs that we're working on or.
Gotcha. Yeah, we are trying to narrow down exactly what is causing it. Right now, what we have is that if it is a mobile station, which we talked about with Mark previously, if it is a mobile station, it is prone to crash more often because whenever you open it up, it attempts to start off at racking module, which doesn't like it whenever you're out on the road. So if it is a delivery app, or sorry, if it is a delivery station, um, just notate whenever the timelines that it happens, and then shoot me an email, and then I can go back and look and find the logs for it, so we can get a better grasp on why this keeps happening.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, and when did you? Let me unmute you again. What kind of tablet are you using? And then
It's a
when did you?
Samsung.
Okay.
I don't know how much memory it's got or any of that kind of stuff, but it's Android.
Okay. Okay. And generally this app shouldn't be memory hogging. It should be less load on your device than the previous one. But when did you switch back? Like approximate for days?
It was, let's say, I think we tried it Monday and Tuesday and then kind of gave up on it after those 2 days. So
Okay.
that was last week. Last week or the week before, I honestly don't remember.
Okay, gotcha. All right, I'll take a look and see what we can find. But thank you.
Thank you.
All right, here we go. We've got Mark.
So a fun fact is that I don't know, I'm sure this is a Google Maps problem, but our driver clicked the go to button on the mobile app and it took him to an adjacent address a few miles away because they have the exact same street name, but just in a very different, like in a different city or not city, but like I don't know what they call it.
Right.
Very small sub-region in the same county. And at first we thought the driver had made an error, had manually put it in, but then I tried it myself from my device and other devices, and sometimes it would go to this address and then go to the other address.
Hmm.
But that being said, one of the ideas that came from that was saying that if there was some type of historical check, again, an error checking mechanism where if the order is being marked as picked up or delivered, but the pin at which it's being picked up or marked as picked up or delivered from, or I guess the stop is being completed at, is not historically what it's been, or it doesn't align with what it was in the past, it would be nice to get like a flag or something of that nature. Because I know that on the instance on the desktop, we can see where the pin is, where they mark it complete. But yeah, just a nice error checking mechanism to prevent those types of issues, or even when it's a manual user where they go to the wrong address, which has happened. Because they think they know and then they're not following the smart navigation. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Hey, Mark. Yeah, that's an interesting idea, and I think it's worth writing up as a feature request. I just wanted to jump in to say that there actually is a way that we can correct individual accounts if basically if the scenario you described occurs where Smart seems to be confusing one address with another. We can actually override the address with GPS coordinates to force it to point to the right location. So if you were to submit a support ticket, provide us both the addresses and the account names, I can make sure that gets done for you.
That's great to know. Yeah, I didn't know that, but I mean, it's not like a smart issue. I went into Google Maps and I put it in, and it even
Yeah.
Google Maps, it was giving me different
Right.
results. So
Yeah, and that's exactly why we have the ability to override with the coordinates,
copy.
because the way Smart and Google talk to each other, I guess, it's not always quite the same language or something. Whatever that happens there, we can override it.
Copy. Thank you, Mike.
Sure thing. Brian, did you have a question or a fun fact?
I had another question similar to what Mark was saying. When I put in an address, Waze sends me one way to a wrong location, and Apple Maps sends me to the correct location. So it's not a smart problem, but I guess from my perspective, every time I say go to, it says, do you want to do Apple Maps or Waze? How do I make it default to do Apple Maps?
Is that in the new delivery app or the old one?
I'm assuming the old, because I don't know what the new one is.
It hasn't changed for you? Okay.
Yeah.
So there is an option. The first time it prompts you after you hit go to remember your selection. I'm not sure, and I would believe that perhaps if you don't set that option to remember your choice the first time, it doesn't ask again. And so it'll just keep
Yeah.
asking you which app you want. So the way to reset that would be to uninstall and reinstall the app. And it
Got it.
should prompt you again, although hold on.
So, so if you have
Maybe
an
Chris
app,
has something.
so if you have an Apple device,
Yeah.
you can go into your settings, find the
Oh.
app, and then just tell them to always use the map that you want. So it's in the Apple settings. You can just
Okay.
do it from the app
It,
settings.
is it under the smart app or is it
Y-
just generic
Yep. So
Apple
you
setting?
no, so you'll go under the smart app. So you'll go into
Got
settings,
it.
into your iPhone, click smart, and then it should give you an option for locations and then maps, and then you should be able to select the permanent map.
Got it. That works. Thank you. I'll try that.
All right, let's go to Matt.
Yeah, how do we get the new delivery app? Is that something that's rolling out?
Yeah, so we should
everybody?
be it should be rolling out within the next couple weeks. As in, if you would like to download it, here's going to be an email for it, and it's going to go out to everybody. But it's not going to be like a requirement to download to start with, right? It is going to replace your current app, so you can only use one or the other, unless if you want to increase your billing cost because you'll be doing another app.
And then on the mobile device for our like our employees for walking around, is that considered another device? Is that considered a station?
Yeah,
If they
yep,
use
that
their
would,
phone to rack?
yeah, it would be. Yep.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem.
Since no one has a question at the moment, we can ask what Enrique asked in the chat. So I just want to hear thoughts on some of the best practices you've seen from other cleaners. You guys are probably the best people to answer that. And how you're successfully growing your routes. So maybe some features you might be underutilizing in Smart. I mean, for me personally, I would say if you're not using geofencing and on demand, you really need to jump on that bandwagon. If you're trying to actually grow your routes, if you are maybe thinking you want to grow your routes, but you might be a little complacent, you might not want on demand and geofencing, or you might really not want that growth. But if you're truly trying to grow your routes, draw the fences, get geofencing enabled, get on demand enabled, let people come to you. I'm just speaking from like my generation's perspective, which is last year of a millennial. I don't want to talk to anybody just from a consumer perspective. I want to go to a drive-through, a kiosk. I want a delivery person. I really don't want to go in and do much of that anymore. So anything that you can do to create less friction would be my recommendation. I am a fourth generation dry cleaner too, so I do have some say. But if anybody else has any ideas on how you're growing your routes or how you're using Smart to grow your routes, please raise your hand.
I would like to mention, just to tag something onto the end of that, that I part of my role in the company is to provide some consulting services, which is essentially paid services that go above and beyond normal support. And one of the things I can do is throw customers on a map. I can plot your store customers, since we're talking about expanding your delivery market. I can plot store customers. I can help you identify neighborhoods that might be particularly dense, where you could pursue new route customers, route conversions, that sort of thing. So if anybody's got any interest in anything like that, please feel free, contact support, and we can talk about it.
All right, and next looks like we have Erica.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Good, thank you. I do have a question. We don't have somebody currently right now working specifically on the routes. So my routes are, oh my God, I have a route, one of my routes, the driver goes 4 times during the week around the same area because we don't have geofencing and we don't actually took the time to actually say this area you're going this day and this other area this day. So my routes are all over and they're repeated. Is if I start doing the geofencing, it will fix the routes automatically, or I have to actually manually do one by one?
So that's kind of a very broad question, because yes, geofence will put people in the correct spot, depending on if your business is really set up for that. So you mentioned that you are based off location, which when I hear that, I'm thinking you do have, I don't know, maybe if you have a map in your area that you're like, we do service this area, we don't service this side of town, whatever it is, then geofencing might be perfect for you. But we would definitely want to dive deeper into your business in general to make sure that geofencing is going to work properly for you.
Okay, okay. So should I just put a ticket for it, or so you guys can check it out?
Yeah, it sounds like the exact person you want to get with is Mike over here that just said about reorganizing routes and stuff. I
Oh
think
my God.
the first thing is it needs to be reorganized. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm under the impression that even if you enable geofencing, it won't change your current customers. Like it'll save where your current customers are, because as you can
Okay.
imagine, if some people tried to change that, it would get a little crazy.
Yeah, that's right, Gina. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, the geofencing only affects new signups and customers who convert to a route for the first time. So if they have history with routes before, they will not be affected by the geofence. It won't assign them a route or do anything to them. So it's meant to control the growth of your routes so that as you add new route customers, they are added to the correct routes. As far as getting everyone who is already signed up and on a route into the appropriate route for them, if they're kind of all over the place and they need to be better organized, I can absolutely help with that. That is part of the consulting program. And so there is a fee for it, but it's not too bad. And I'm happy to help you out.
Okay. Okay, Mike. Then I will contact you later.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank
Looking
you.
forward to it. Thanks.
All right. Looks like we've got Steve.
Yeah, you guys were talking a little bit about how we're using, we brought this up in an earlier Q&A, but just happen to have this. This is a postcard that we sent out using EDDM. And of course it goes to the QR code. And from there, we send them to a sales letter, basically, that we give the sales pitch, and then they have the opportunity to click on to the smart app to sign up for the routes. We've gotten a few customers that way. We're still working out all the bugs, but it's got some potential. And with the geofencing, obviously that helps a little bit too. A couple times, at least on one occasion, the post office sent them to the wrong zip code. I don't know how that happened, but just by pure fluke, we've actually got a couple of good customers that way. But yeah, it did, geofencing put them in the right route at least when they signed up. But we also give them the option to telephone calls or call us any, give them the benefits so that the old farts like me, and opposed to the millennials like Gina, we can we can try to take care of everybody. So it's something we're trying. We've gotten a few customers that kind of, with everything going on right now, we've kind of cooled off a little bit, but we're trying to fine tune it.
Have you ever tried the postcards before?
Yeah, but not to the extent. Before it was always just be a telephone call. Not this formalized. We're trying to do it on a real regular basis. So one of the things we're looking at doing too is getting away from EDDM and going to more of a profile of our best customers and focusing on where the best customers are who meet that criteria. So we're doing something. I'm working with a guy who's much more knowledgeable about that than I am. So that's kind of where we're at. And so in the bottom line, it really isn't any more expensive to do it that way than EDDM. You know, when when EDDM, you're kind of using a shotgun and, you know, just really blasting a particular mail route.
Yeah, I know
But, you know,
postcards have always been a
if you know the
source.
general demographic, it usually works out okay, but there's a lot of them that are missing the mark too at the same time. But we try to kind of use the sales letter portion to frame who the ideal client would be to benefit from the pickup and delivery service. But anyway, we're working with it, and we've had some success, but I think it's got a lot of promise. But we gotta fine tune it a little bit more. But
If
again,
you don't mind sharing, what kind of has been your average ROI with it? Like how many did you send out versus how many have you gotten
we've
so
been
far?
trying to send out right around 1,000 each time we've done it. We've done it 3 times, and we're getting anywhere from 1 to 5 clients per.
Okay.
And we're still working around with the wording and the offer and
Yeah,
kind of the hook to get their attention. So we're still in the test mode with it. But
just good numbers to play around with, especially for
Yeah.
everybody else in here. So
exactly right.
thank you.
Just something, just some thoughts.
Yep, we used to do them too. Thanks.
All right, and rolling into Will.
I was just wondering, Steve, if you were using referral sources for any of your marketing.
Not like we should. We're trying to kind of focus where we have some existing clients that in neighborhoods where we have some potential more than anything. But
Yeah.
we're really trying to get the routes more concentrated is really our focus. So we're not driving the truck all over town. And Jack,
I think, yeah,
we're in Jacksonville. I'm sorry, go ahead.
oh no, we've just been using through Smart adding referral sources in the marketing, and that actually really helps
Okay.
quantify. And so we can really see where the success is happening.
Yeah, that's something it's on my list of things to do. I just haven't got it done. So Tyler and Gene will be getting a request from me here before long.
Yeah, because that was the other thing I would say is to Enrique's question is using smart marketing.
Yep.
Thank you for the plug, Will.
My pleasure.
We do have a counter to route campaign that pulls all your non-route customers and pings them with a message and a small coupon to try route service. But you can really utilize the system to do any kind of messaging you want to do around your routes. But most important is, yeah, to be able to pull those non-route customers so easily and then, yeah, target them.
Well, it's sad, and I would also say just consistency. And that's why I think with smart marketing or with anything that you're going to set up, regardless if you go outside of that, you know, if you try to go out and just do it once, it's never going to work. Yeah, I mean, like you actually have to, you should set up a plan, even if it's direct mail marketing, you know, that you're going to do it, you know, every quarter or 3 times a year, because they have to see it repetitively. It's just like you have to tell someone something 7 times before they actually will do it. It's the same thing with marketing. You have to look at it in the same, under the same lens.
I have a question. I'm married to a tech freak, like literal everything tech is his thing. When we signed up for our current dry cleaner, he didn't want to get on route service. He was afraid of the pressure of like having to be on this like constant schedule. And it really had to be explained a little bit that you don't have to give something every week and that it's very like the way Smart works is an opt out where you just literally say, no, I don't need it this week. Do you think part of this is educating the public how it works? Like, does that factor in any of this, or is it really just
Yeah.
like, is there something else going into this situation?
No, I think the problem is the dry cleaner. So most dry cleaners are selling static routes. And so what ends up happening is that's what the dry cleaners, the verbiage of how the dry cleaner is representing their service. So when they say we'll be there every Monday and Thursday, that person automatically is starting to think, oh, they're going to be here every week. I don't have that much cleaning. And so unless they update their marketing to let them know that they don't have to, But I think that's your biggest problem is no one, like, it's just like with me, if I go anywhere right now, everyone tries to sign you up with anything for everything. I don't want a commitment. And not only that, half the times, even if it's like, regardless if it's Netflix or whatever, you get the first month free. I don't want to have to unsubscribe.
Right.
Right. And so that's the biggest thing is going in and then having to be like, oh, I got to unsubscribe. I don't even remember how to do that. I would rather just not do it.
Yeah. So I think there's a couple things. Number one, they have to understand the structure. You're right about people not knowing the route schedules, and not even understanding how it works. Because when my husband signed up, our cleaner required like a phone call because he wanted to have my husband's like commitment that we had enough stuff that was going to be worth putting him on a route, right? So first of all, there had to be they literally had a phone call, an in-person phone call, which if you're really, really busy, it may seem easy to have a 5-minute phone call, but finding that time, connecting, like it's not that easy. So I feel like, is there a way to sort of automate when someone is interested in a route? Can you devise some kind of message that's like, hey, we're so glad you're interested. Here's how it works. Or do they actually have to sign up first and commit before they actually understand the program? Like, what are the steps in your opinion?
I think that so we allow people to sign up without credit card. And then once they make their first schedule, they have to put a credit card online. But there's a handful of things if you're looking at it from a bird eye's view of what you're doing. There's so many other parts that are associated to that. Even if you start tracking acquisitions, and where they're coming from and all those things, you have to have these guardrails up. And so I think really it is on the dry cleaner to have the right marketing message in front of them that makes it seem like it's hands off, and when you sign up, really, I haven't got into the back end of this in a long time. Someone else, but can you set up how you end up setting up let me think about this.
While you're thinking, I would just say
Yeah.
the website itself, your website itself could have an explanation. That's where a lot of people might be getting some information too.
But it's funny because now even websites, I look at our website, there's so many fucking clickable things. It's ridiculous, like to get into it, to find the price list, to scroll down. And so really most of the stuff that we do is a lot of it's through smart marketing. And a lot of it is like sending out messages about pickup delivery, about the scheduling, about being, free. All these things start going through that. And even now what we've done is on our website, I'm going to screw up the verbiage, so give me a second. On our website, it's like we have, we're going to make it on our front page. I think we're going to add it, and we haven't added it yet, but it's how it works. And it takes you through, and this is what actually everyone gets now, and every new customer gets it. It's how it starts and how it breaks down all the way through using the service. So if you're a counter customer, or if you're a pickup delivery customer, if you are a house pickup delivery, a building pickup delivery, and then how you manage those accounts. And it goes into everything that Smart has, as into, taking photos, sending messages, annotations, payment, like all these things. But that's really what we're sending people now. We're not sending them hey, welcome to Helena's Cleaners. We want to cut out as much of the static and noise. I think less and less people care about like the hellos and goodbyes. And don't get me wrong, there's still the Dave Coyles of the world who are out there saying, the word salad, and try to impress them. I'm the opposite of that. Less is more. Be direct, because even when you're sending text messages, you don't have the time. Like if I get a long text message, I'm not reading it. I want to know exactly what it is, or I want to know the link, and hit the link. And if there's a video that I'm going to watch, or if it's going to explain something to me, then it goes through that, and so there's a lot of that stuff that it just what school of thought you are following when it comes to marketing. And then are you using SMART to the full capability of what that is? And like I said, there's a lot of things that, people will say, I'm going to do it next week, or I'm going to do it next month. And then a year goes by. And then by then, a lot of it's been updated. I think that SMART, you guys as a whole move pretty quickly in comparison to most other point of sale companies and the offerings that are out there.
Again, thank you, Will. We love your positivity.
Yep.
All right, guys, we have about 5 more minutes. Do we have any more comments, any more questions? Fun facts? We love fun facts. Brian said some feedback. The new allow button to join accounts for items is fantastic. We're glad you like that. We've got Steve.
Thank you. I was having the allow button. That's kind of something new to me. I'm not really familiar with that. Can you give me an explanation of what that's all about?
Yeah, so it's generally for companies that are heat sealing. So now it's to make it easier so you don't have to say somebody brings something in and CSR marks it under the wrong account, or say they have 2 different accounts and you're trying to merge them together, or whatever the case is, that you need to move one item from one wardrobe to the other. Essentially, you would just scan it to the account that you want it to be on. It's going to alert you and say, hey, this belongs to so-and-so. And then you can allow it, or allow and transfer, and then it will automatically do it. Whereas before this, you had to go create the order, finish the order, transfer it, and do all that. So it's just easier.
Okay, just something I haven't come across yet, so I just was not real familiar with what that's all about. So good.
Yeah, yep. Okay, and then Michelle just asked in the chat, is there a report that shows the transfers? There is not currently a report that does that. But I think we are working on it, because it should pick up a note. And then I think we're looking at adding a permission level, but not too sure about that one yet. All right. Yep. Yeah, that's exactly what we would need it for. We need to make sure that people, and Michelle asked, we need it so we can find mistakes. That's correct. That's exactly what everybody is wanting it for. And I just don't know where it is in the pipeline yet. That's the only thing. All right, we've got Zach. Last one.
Hey, I was just curious. I've been working with, I think, Andrew.
Yep.
There was a bug that we were experiencing in which we were creating orders, and the due times, the drop ticket would have the correct due time or due date, but the smart would have the wrong one. Is there an update on that, or are we the only ones experiencing this issue?
No, so part of it depends on how the CSR puts it into the system. But we are actively working on narrowing down exactly what's causing it. We did push out a newer update that makes the due dates look at each department for orders, which changes the due date, but it wasn't supposed to happen for manual overrides. So we're still looking at it and still trying to figure out the exact way to fix it.
Okay. So just the message to my people is just pay attention and review. It's essentially like after detailing, we have to review 100% of the orders, because if it got split, then like the due time changed. So that's what I'm telling them to focus.
Yeah, definitely. And then are you quick detail only, or do you do normal like cleaning orders?
No, we do not do quick detailing.
Okay, got it. Yeah. Okay, yeah, it should. I just got a video of it, so we pushed it up and we're working on it.
Okay. All right, cool. Thank you for the info.
Yeah, not a problem. All right, we're gonna go ahead and roll out the feedback and poll, and we will see you guys next week. Thank you.